Alright, what's going on, guys? It is Vince, aka Varuxium. We're going to be going over the new Delve Boss rewards on my 5th Ramble on the channel. And we got the face cam up. So I usually use face cam when I stream. I was like, I might as well just throw it on here for the Ramble today. The only issue is with the way my room's set up, the sun is just absolutely whitewashing my face. Like if I hold my hand up here, it fixes it. And then it just whitewashes my face. So I apologize for that. I'll try to record at a different time. But this is what we got for today. So yesterday, Jagex released the new Delve Boss rewards. If you remember, there was quite a bit of outcry on the last one, so they decided to revisit it. They scrapped the first batch of rewards from the Delve Boss after like community feedback, which you love to see. You love to see just the community having an impact and them willing to say, hey, you know, we're just going to revisit this. So it's nice that they're not like, no, this is what you get. So, but anyway, oh, excuse me, hold on 1 second. I'm getting over a cold, so sneezing and coughing. I muted myself, but we are going to jump right into this. We're back with a fresh set of reward proposals for our upcoming Delve Boss, the Doom of Macchiato. Thanks for being patient with us while we whipped up a new set of rewards and did a bit more work on the Avernic Treads. You told us that the original rewards were not strong or interesting enough, so we built our new designs with this in mind. Again, I love the fact that they're willing to be humble about this and not take it to heart and just realize that their players want, like, good content, just good stuff. So, you know, props to Jagex for being humble, for not taking things to heart and you know, just reworking the rewards. If you need a refresher on the Delve mechanics or anything else about the Doom, check out the RuneFest Summit blog. In addition to the 4 rewards we're pitching today, we're still planning to include content-specific rewards like a teleport item and a pet. That's pretty standard. For now, though, we want to focus on the rewards you'll be voting on. Well, I guess they're not even confirmed yet then, if we still have to vote on it. So the first one we got is the Avernic Treads. We'll start with something familiar. As we mentioned before, we've iterated on our original design instead of replacing it entirely. So now, these boots will now drop in a form that can be immediately worn, with the ability to upgrade them by using the Cerberus boots one at a time. So that's pretty cool. It's not just the boots that you have to use all 3 Cerberus to kind of get the benefits from. You can add them one by one, which is good if you're an Iron Man, or if you just want to periodically upgrade them if you're maining on the money for all 3. With their range strength stat, the treads will be best in slot as soon as they drop. Combining them with the Cerberus boots will give them further buffs. So if you see on here, on the left is the base Avernic treads, and then on the right is when you add all 3 Cerberus boots to it. I do want to point out, because I was looking at this last night with some of my friends and discussing, the melee strength is, the base is actually a downgrade from Primordial boots. So the Primordial boots have a melee strength of 5 versus the base has 4. So if you add them to the treads once you get them, you're not gaining 2. You're gaining 2 over the Avernic treads, but you're only gaining 1 melee strength over the Primordial boots. Range strength, obviously, the Pegasians have 0, so you're getting a flat 2 just by getting them, and then once you add the Pegasians, if you have them, you're getting an additional 1 for a total of 3. And then the Eternal Boots, I want to say, after the mage rework, have 1% already. So when you add them, you're going to get 2. You have a 1% upgrade. It's not too bad. And then obviously the big thing with this is just hybriding or tribriding becomes like extremely easy because you don't have to do a boot swap or debate what boots you want to bring in. You can just bring these in with all 3 added and you're good. The following benefits will be gained by combining the Avernic treads, each boot, and a number of demon tiers. The demon tiers we'll get into, but it's essentially the Sunfire Splinters from Colosseum-esque kind of put into the Doom of Macchiato, the Delve Boss. So, and then this is what I was getting at. It says Primordial Boots you'll get a +2 melee strength. That +2 melee strength is over the base Avernic treads, not over the Primordials. So you're only getting the +1 additional melee strength from Primordials. But this is all good. You get quite a bit from this design, and obviously, like I said, the fact that you can just throw these on for whatever style you're rocking is fantastic. So Excuse me. This design means that there is no longer an outright requirement to have Asian boots for the treads to become useful, which should help to alleviate economic pressure on ranger boots. Yeah, it's a good choice, especially for irons. I have Pegasians, but I got really lucky on mine. So if I didn't have them, I'd be pissed until this change. So requirements both up base and upgraded versions are 80 strength, defense, range, and magic. So tier 80 boots is pretty good. It's going to be a while for some of the players that aren't maxed already to get those. You can't just get them right away. So the Avernic treads exist in two forms: tradable with the base stats, and untradeable once the upgrade process has started. So once you start adding your Cerberus boots, the boots are untradeable for any of my mains out there. Boots can be reverted to their counterparts minus the demon tier. So you will get your Cerberus boots back if you want them, but you lose your demon tiers. While we wanted to offer 3 different aesthetic options for these boots, the new design proposal complicates the work required to do that. So we'll be proceeding with just one still very stylish option. So here's the design of them. They look pretty sweet. I mean, they're called Avernic treads, so it has that vampire, I guess Firewatch kind of style to it. And once you upgrade them, they glow, which is pretty cool. So I think both of these look pretty dope. Obviously, this one just the only difference is it glows, but I'm happy with the design. I think most people are happy with the design. So it's different from what I thought. I really didn't know what to expect them to look like, but this is a cool design. And it doesn't have, I mean, it has the wings kind of. That's the difference from the left version too. I didn't notice at first, but it has these wings kind of flared out as well, which is kind of cool because it's not quite the little wings that the current 3 best in slot boots have, but it still kind of has like it's paying tribute almost. Like they love having like the little flares on the boots. It's everywhere. It's with every single boot, but they gotta have something. So I'm not surprised to see that. So here's the demon tiers. So what are these demon tiers you'll be using to upgrade your treads? This new resource drop is tradable and consumable, and we intend them to be common enough that using them to create other rewards won't be too much of a grind. All our reward proposals require some number of them, although we haven't settled on the exact amounts. While in most cases the demon tiers will be used to craft upgrades, you'll see that the Eye of Ayak below uses them as charges too. We're aware that chargescape is a contentious topic, but we feel like recent charge systems have struck a great balance, and the way you'll charge the Eye of Ayak is one such example. Excuse me. So this is good. It needs something, especially on a delve boss where you're continually upgrading the difficulty. You need something that's just going to hold value and be consumed. So this demon tiers thing is a great way to kind of hold that balance and keep the content profitable long term, considering you're going to need them just moving forward. So I know people don't like chargescape. I don't mind too much as long as the cost is reasonable. I think that's, even as an Iron Man, it's usually not too bad. As long as they have like different ways of getting them. This, I think it's just from the boss, but again, it's high level content. It's supposed to be, something that you need to work towards, that you don't just get for free. So similar to like the scythe or some of the other items in the game, shadow, etc. So I actually have a pretty cool photo to show you guys as well, but the Eye of Ayak, I'll read it first and then we'll go back to it. Excuse me. So again, this is the Eye of Ayak. It's a wand. It looks a little bit like a a club where you just beat the shit out of someone with it, but it's supposed to be a mage wand. So I like the design. I just can't get over the fact that, like, especially this part in here with it being like jagged, it looks like a club. So I'll show you. I did a little rework of it, but I'm gonna read this first. This one-handed magic weapon will speed up your grind towards Tunic in the Shadow and give you power and utility beyond it. The Shadow is currently good across the entire game, yeah, but its slow attack speed means it's not always the right tool for the job. The only thing I want to point out with that is the slow attack speed makes it easier to use because you don't have to worry about losing ticks as much because of the fact that it's slow. Versus, like, this is, you'll see, this is a 3 tick, meaning every 3 ticks you have to maximize your DPS or to maintain your DPS, you have to make sure you're attacking every 3 ticks. Versus a shadow, it's actually easier to use because you only have to worry about attacking every 5. The eye, however, will zap enemies at shorter intervals with a rapid 3 tick attack speed, with damage somewhere between the Sang's staff and Tumikin Shadow. It will optimize your performance against low HP opponents like the Night Locust. Yeah, it's going to be very good at Tob. It's similar to why a Ham Joint is good at Tob or the Swift Blade, because it attacks quicker, so you can attack multiple enemies. So it does have that over the Sang and the Tumikin Shadow. Once you've obtained your Shadow, the Eye will continue to offer utility with its magic rendering special attack. So I've heard this isn't that great, but we'll read it and we'll go over it anyway. The special attack is slower, 5 tick, but has increased max hit. You'll want it too because every point of damage will drain your opponent's magic defense. Yes, we mean magic defense, so your twisted bow will hit just as hard. You can charge the staff using demon tears or runes. It'll also charge passively if you have one in your inventory when defeating the Doom of Macchiato. Uncharging the staff will give you whatever you put in, and demon tears are prioritized for consumption over runes. Duplicate unique drops from the Doom can be broken down into demon tears if desired. See, this is pretty cool. I haven't heard many people talking about this. If you get duplicate uniques, you can just break them down into demon tears, similar to the Zora items, that's always a feels good. You get rewarded even if you are getting dupes. That'll help the economy as well. So that's a cool little part that they put in there. As for the special attack, I think making it 5 tick is an interesting choice, despite it increasing your max hit. Because it's only like a third, I think it's 30%. Okay, so it has doubled accuracy and 30% higher max hit. Yeah, so I mean, maybe you get some use out of it in certain niche scenarios, but from what I've heard, it's you're almost better off just attacking in a 3 tick attack cycle. So I don't know what to say about that. I'll have to see it in game. I'll have to see where people use it. Like, I don't see it being overly great. But again, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe there's, some sort of niche for it. If you need to get a last hit in, that's kind of the only place I can see. Maybe. It reminds me of, like, if you're, like, doing bloat, how you'll do, like, a crystal halberd, a special attack, like, at the end, because you can step a step further away to get that extra spec in, or, like, it tweaks with the special attack percentages, because it's a 30%. Maybe you have something like that. It says it uses 100%, though, so maybe at the end of a fight, if you want a last hit, you do that, because the 5 tick doesn't matter, because you're not losing ticks because it's the end of the fight. That's kind of the only place I can see it. But, it says it will be tradable when uncharged. Once you charge it, it will be untradeable. But yeah, special attack consumes 100% energy, has double the accuracy with 30% higher max hit, and drains magic defense equal to damage dealt. So, costs per attack are 2 death runes, 1 chaos rune, or 1 demon tier. So that's cool. They offer you the choice there. You can do 1 demon tier or 2 death runes and 1 chaos rune. So it gives Iron Man the choice. And what's interesting is I was gonna say 1 demon tier should equal the same or close to 2 death runes and 1 chaos rune, but these are gonna be harder to come by, so they're probably still gonna be a little bit more expensive. And then the Eye of Ayak will require 83 magic, so pretty higher tier weapon where we see that bar slowly get raised. But overall, it's going to be fun. I don't see people using the special attack super often, except maybe in niche scenarios that people figure out, but that's okay. And then what I wanted to show you guys, so this is the current wand. I was moving my mouse on my other screen, but no, this is the current wand, and people were saying it looks almost too much like a melee weapon. So what I did was I shrunk it down to the size of a Kodai wand, which, again, you're keeping the same design, So you're not fundamentally changing anything, but you're making it. You can't see my mouse. That's the original. I apologize. But you're keeping it to look more like a wand. This is the size of a Kodai wand on the right here. So if you see on the left, kind of where his head is, it goes above that, versus on the right here, you can't see my mouse, but it comes down to about here. So it shrinks it a little bit, and it makes it look like you're just kind of like using it to actually zap a spell instead of beat the shit out of someone with it. So I think they should make this smaller, as you can see. So that's a visual for you on the right. But I think that would work a lot better. It would keep it consistent with some of the other wands in the game. This one on the left that they did, it looks way too big. It looks like a club. So next we have the Confliction Gauntlets. So interesting name. And this magical glove is an upgrade to the Tormented Bracelet and provides you with an extra 2% magic damage and bonus magic accuracy. You can craft the gauntlets using a macchiato cloth, which is an untradeable drop from the Doom of Macchiato, on a Tormented Bracelet in a similar fashion to the Rancor amulet. So yeah, they're doing Zenite upgrades, is all this is. We have one for the Torture amulet in the Rancor. We now have one for the Tormented Bracelet. So I could see it's gonna happen. They're gonna do one for the Anguish for ranged. I don't know what it's going to come from, how soon it'll come from, but probably within the next year and a half, maybe. Maybe it comes from a raid. For the next raid is like an Avernic level thing. Who knows? But they're going to require they're going to add something to upgrade the Anguish. And the Suffering, maybe you could play with that. Maybe you add something with some sort of like passive effect similar to not similar to this, but similar in the sense that it would have a passive effect, but that opens up a lot of options with the Suffering that as well. Not that it needs change, but if you wanted to add something to make that ring a little bit better, you could definitely add that as well. The options there. You can craft the gauntlets using I already read that, I apologize. You'll need Demon Tears as well as 83 crafting and 70 smithing to craft the Confliction Gauntlets, but these stats are boostable. Okay, so again, it's building up raising the bar a little bit for what the requirements are. You need 83 crafting. When crafted, the Confliction Gauntlets will be tradable, so you can trade them, but you will need 90 hit points to wear them, as you can see up here. And at the bottom there. But that's not all. This item comes with an interesting new passive effect. So this is really interesting in my opinion. Not because of what the passive effect is, but what it means for different mechanics of the game, which I'll talk about in a sec. When you miss a magic attack with the gauntlets, you hook your next magic attack of the same type, so same weapon, or the same spell, against the same enemy, will roll accuracy twice. This means that if you're already hitting all the time, looking at you, Shadow, you won't be benefiting much, but if your accuracy is more middling, you'll see some great returns. So yeah, that's pretty cool. It balances it with the Shadow a little bit, because the Shadow already has pretty high accuracy, so it won't benefit as much as, you know, some of the other weapons like a Trident or something until you get a Shadow, or a Sang maybe. So pretty cool design. Instead of just the cufflings, they actually have like full like gloves. It looks kind of weird with the orange underneath, but overall it's a pretty cool looking design here. So what's interesting, which again I haven't heard anybody talking about this yet, you now have two different magic elements. Well, you have two different elements that are being applied to mage, right? You have the Shadow, which is just it's been a nightmare to see them try to balance that, considering it has the effect with percentile based damage. And now you have this, where if you add a weapon that doesn't have high, like super high magic accuracy, this is just going to help with that because of its passive effect. You do have to get it, but it's, you know, if you're looking at like an end game perspective where everyone has best in slot, they're going to have this. So now you have to balance it, or you're going to have to balance it around this passive effect, but you're also going to have to keep the shadow in mind. So I'm curious what they're going to do with Mage in the future, because it's already been, I think, tricky for them to balance it with, like, around the shadow. And now you're putting this in the mix. I like this item. I think it's cool. I think the fact that you're putting this passive effect is there, but, like, I'm very interested to see how they choose to balance magic in the future, considering you now have to deal with the shadow and this now on top of it. So it's fine for now, but does it create problems in the future? We'll have to see. So I also think it's interesting that this just applies to, like, every magic weapon. I know it's better if the accuracy is lower, but it's interesting to me that you're just gonna have this, like, moving forward once you get it. So, and then I did want to point out on the bonuses, you have a 7% magic damage, which I know the Tormented Bracelet, I believe, was 5%, but this goes up another 2%. So the Occult got nerfed from a 10 down to a 5. So now we're creeping up back up to that 10. And I know, like, Anguish gives you, or not Anguish, I apologize. What's it called? The Prayer Scroll. Arcane. The Arcane Prayer Scroll. That bumps you up another 4%. And it is from a raid, but it's interesting to see that they're going up to 7 on this and not, like, say 6%. They're giving you another 2%, which is huge. So I don't know what the drop rate of this is going to be, or proposed from the cloth, but this looks like a pretty good upgrade here with the Confliction Gauntlet. So let me know what you think of those. These are really interesting, with what they're bringing to the table, with the, not only just, like, the possibilities with it, like, if you put these on with, like, the eye, and then you go to, like, do your mage roll at Tob or something with the Nilos, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with these items if they pass the poll, which I'd imagine they will. And then the last item, this one's different. It's not PVM based, but it's the Demonic Digger, which is interesting that they chose to just do something that's not PVM based. So, and this is actually pretty cool. They shouted out, it's cool that they just listen to the community. I mentioned it at the start, but I love that they listen to the community, and they threw a shout out to Frey_27 on Reddit for this. So again, here's the object itself. And they wrote, "We really enjoy the new idea of a new spade with a demonic twist, and what better place for it to come from than a burrowing boss." Yeah, that's cool. Makes sense. Osto Ayak has the chance to drop a burrowing appendage, one of the little spike tips from the bottom of his shield. This can be used with a small number of demon tears and a spade to produce the Demonic Digger. This is a one-time demonic tears cost, not a charge. So that's cool. You have a one-time demonic tears cost to upgrade it, or I guess to create it with the appendage. With just this, the appendage, and you get this. So it doesn't require any charges at all. It's just a one-time cost, which is cool. And so I'd imagine the appendage has some of these spikes that we see here or at the bottom, or something similar. The burrowing appendage drop would be untradeable, but once crafted, the digger would be tradable. So you can get the shield, you just can't get the appendage, it looks like. Which I almost want to say I would prefer to be the opposite way, because then you're keeping these requirements, you're locking this item behind those requirements. The way they're doing it now, they're not locking it behind those requirements, because you can just buy the shield. Okay, this is interesting though. You need I'm jumping ahead a little bit, I apologize, but 65 crafting is to assemble it, unless you just buy it. But it does require 65 farming. So that's a little bit better, but I still think they should reverse that. I think you should the appendage itself is tradable from the boss, so just flip here and here. what that's going to do is it's going to lock it behind 65 crafting as well. I think right now, not that like 65 is anything, but if you're a main, you can just buy it once you have 65 farming, versus if you flip-flop them, you'd have to have 65 crafting to make it, because you'd be buying the appendage instead. So, small detail. I'd prefer it to be reversed, but again, it's level 65. It's nothing crazy. And then the effect, which is pretty cool. When used for harvesting farming crops, any spade actions are processed instantly. So that's pretty cool. It means if you're going on like a farm run, you can just dig up the herbs when you're doing your herb runs, and you're good to go. So it you don't have to double tap the thing and then it like double picks or whatever. You just pick the whole plot. I'm curious. It reminds me of like when you pick limpwort roots. It's just instant. You just get all of them. I'm curious if you don't have the inventory space, does it leave it there? Just put it on the ground? I guess it doesn't matter too much. It'll be annoying to have to pick them all up though off the ground if it is that where you have to where it just drops it on the ground if you don't have the space. So we'll see how that works, but really cool item. I think it's really cool that they're adding skilling kind of like interwoven in PVM. And it's just cool to see them do it. Like, this is just different. We don't get like skilling items put into PVM much. The only other thing I can think of is like crystal weaponry from Zolcano, and Zolcano isn't necessarily a hard fight by any stretch of the imagination. So, and that's all. That's the very lowdown on our update Delve Boss rewards. We're still welcoming your feedback on everything we've shared today. So if you have a moment, fill out the survey. So you have a survey if you want to voice your opinions on it. Alternatively, you can share your thoughts on Discord, Reddit, and Twitter/X. And you can also discuss on subreddit, Steam, Discord, and the wiki. Let's just check out the old school wiki. And then, like always, we have all the mods that's signed at the bottom, which is always cool. There's a lot of them. There is quite a lot of them now, but that's it. We got the Digger, the Confliction Gauntlets, the Eye of Ayak, and the Avernic Treads. So, pretty good from what I've seen. I know some people were talking about power creep. I think you're going to have that a little bit, regardless, depending on, how quick you want to do it. That's for the community and Jagex to discuss, but, I think the treads that's pretty big. It's pretty big considering you don't have to swap boots now. You can just kind of combine them into everything. I think that's cool for this item. I don't want to see it become a trend though. This is cool, especially with the exploring like the 3-tick mage weapon instead of 4 and 5 like we've seen so far. Again, I'm gonna put this image right on the screen just for a second. I think they should change it back to this, but that's besides the point. Not change it back. They should change it to be a little bit smaller so it looks like a wand instead of a club. But that's besides the point. Otherwise, perfect item. Love it. You could maybe revisit the special attack a little bit to make that seem a little bit more worthwhile in using. Confliction Gauntlets again with the passive effect. It's a cool, creative idea. And then this is just different. I love it. So that's going to be the new Delve Boss rewards for Varlamore Final Dawn. If you guys liked the video, leave me a like, leave me some comments. I'll be happy to discuss further in the comments. So, adios, goodbye.